of the Wayne County Public Library, and today I am here to review Code Name Sapphire. This is the newest novel by author Pam Jenoff, and if you are a regular here on our YouTube channel for the library, then y'all know I love a good historical fiction, and that is what Pam Jenoff writes really well. I think I've done maybe one or two of her other novels as book review videos, and so I knew I was going to want to read this when I saw it was coming out. So this novel focuses on three women in Germany and Belgium, and kind of their lives during World War II. And the first woman that we encounter is Hannah. Hannah is a German artist who has been making anti-Nazi propaganda art for this underground resistance newspaper that is run by her husband. And right away at the beginning of the novel, Hannah and her husband are caught. And she is able to hide while the Nazis come into the print shop where the newspaper is being made. But she unfortunately suffers this trauma I can't even imagine, of having to watch her husband get murdered by these Nazis. So she is able to escape. She doesn't get arrested at this point, but she knows she definitely needs to get out of Europe to be safe. And and all while mourning the death of her husband. So she spends the rest of her money to book passage on a ship headed to Cuba. So that's Hannah. Our next character whose point of view we get is Lily. Lily is Hannah's cousin, and Lily is introduced when Hannah's ship gets turned away at the port in Cuba. So this is something that actually happened to ships filled with Jewish people during World War II. So that's based on historical fact, though all of these women are fictional and made up. So her ship is supposed to dock in Cuba. Cuba turns them away. They then try for Florida, and the United States turns them away. So the ship is actually forced to return to occupied Europe. And so they're on their way back, and Hannah remembers her cousin Lily, who lives in Brussels, and the ship they've already been told they're going to Belgium. And so she is able to convince one of the officers on the ship to please send a quick telegram to Lily on her behalf, asking Lily to meet Hannah at the dock in Antwerp, and Lily does. So Lily is very kind. She and Hannah actually haven't seen each other in about a decade. But Lily is very warm and invites and welcomes Hannah into her family's home, which also includes her husband, Nick, who is a doctor. They are Jewish, and so Nick is no longer able to practice medicine in the hospital where he previously was, but he's been practicing medicine out of his home for Jewish people. And then Lily and Nick have a son named Georgie. And I want to say he's about 8. So our third main character point of view we get is Micheline. And that is supposed to be Micheline because she always has this distinct sapphire coat. Now, Micheline is the youngest of our three women. She's supposed to be about 23. And she runs this secret resistance network called the Sapphire Line with her brother Matteo. And the Sapphire Line's focus is helping downed British airmen escape Nazi-occupied Belgium, where they've crash landed, and they are helping them get through these escape routes so they can get back to England. Most of those escape routes involve going over the mountains into Spain, so it's a very arduous journey, and she is helping, at least in her town, these British airmen with her team. So Micheline is already super cool. We meet Micheline through Matteo, her brother, who's helping her with the Sapphire Line. So Hannah, while she is taking Georgie to the park, sees this man retrieve a note from underneath a rock near this marsh. And it's not very commonplace to see reading material or notes underneath rocks at a marsh. So she kind of like makes this really quick connection of, I wonder if this person might be a resistance fighter, or if this has anything to do with like work against the Nazis. And she takes this very big risk of approaching Mateo and asking him kind of outright, are you part of the resistance? Because if you are, I need your help. And so that's a very brave thing to do, I think, on Hannah's behalf. And anyway, so Hannah is still obviously very wanted by the Nazis, and fears that Lily and her family, because they're harboring her, will also get in trouble. So she wants to get out of the country as quickly as possible. So she asks Mateo, who admits like, ooh, that was a pretty clumsy move. You caught me. I am part of the resistance. I work with my sister. I'll introduce you. So that's how we meet Micheline, is when Mateo brings Hannah to her and says, help her get out of the country. So Micheline agrees to help Hannah leave Belgium. Her dream is to go to America, but she also knows that it's going to take time to get documents, even false documents, for Hannah to be able to leave. So in the meantime, Micheline asks Hannah to work for the Sapphire Line. So, we get a chunk of the novel that's, just kind of these cool, like, undercover assignments that the two of them are going on. Sometimes Mateo is part of it. Sometimes it's just one of them as they rescue these British airmen. Because Hannah is in the country illegally, she makes the mistake of using Lily's identification card during one of these trips where she's rescuing the British airmen, and then drops the identification card and realizes too late that her cousin, who's harboring her, who's helping her, who kindly welcomed her into her home, this is not good. And so Lily actually gets arrested for Hannah's actions because of where that identification card was found. And Lily actually gets sent to this transit camp called Bredonk. And soon Georgie, despite his age, and Nick, her husband, end up being sent to Bredonk. And although, Lily is, of course, very happy to be reunited with her family, she's rightfully very worried about what's going to happen to her family next. And she feels this whole dichotomy of, what do I do? Should I turn my cousin in, who's doing good work, helping people, to help my family, or can we weather this and can we escape, whatever. So obviously Hannah feels a lot of guilt about what happened. This feels it's her fault, and it kind of is, that Lily is in this camp. And so Hannah, Micheline, and Mateo need to find a way, and I'm not going to give anything away, of course, spoiler-wise, they need to find a way to make things right before Lily and her family end up on a train to someplace worse than where they are right now. So after reading this novel, I learned that some of the events depicted in here are based on true events. So Hannah, Lily, and Micheline are fictional. They're made up. However, the idea of attacking a train, which will happen, a train that's bound for Auschwitz to free prisoners, which is something that the Sapphire Line in the book undertakes. That was something that did happen. A group of individuals attacked a train to free Jews that were part of it. That is based on a true story. So that was really cool to learn about the courage of the people who agreed to participate in that. It's probably a very scary situation. But in the end, if you like historical fiction, if you like story about the strength of family and courageous women, you will like this book. Again, the strength of friendship, love, hope, courage, the choices we make, and the courage that's needed to take risks I'd say are the big themes of this book. So anyway, give Code Name Sapphire by Pam Jenoff a try. Thanks for watching my video.